Hi, my name is Jamie Van Doorn. I'm the founder and CEO of NeverEnding. We're developing a new kind of social media platform with built-in content creation tools that will allow the average person to compete with studios and streaming platforms like Disney or Netflix in their spare time. While we're poised to disrupt the $183 billion online entertainment industry, we have a bigger purpose. I grew up extremely poor. My mom is intellectually disabled and my stepfather was a drug dealer. I spent about a year homeless when I was 13, and on TV, unsurprisingly, I didn't see heroes or stories I could relate to. As an adult, I've grown to realize that how we see ourselves in the world is impacted by how we see ourselves portrayed in media. And that's why we're working to democratize entertainment and give people the tools they need to take control of their narratives and decide how they'll be seen online and in the world. We've seen huge increases in the popularity of original content channels like YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. And while 47% of Gen Z regularly create content, our options are still really limited. Social media platforms don't have good content creation tools, and many of us aren't comfortable in front of the camera. Animation could help, but most of us aren't digital artists, and those tools are complicated, expensive, and time-consuming. For example, did you know that even with the best tools on the market, it takes on average 45 hours to create just 1 minute of animation? NeverEnding solves for all of this. Using our customizable art library and intuitive tools, you can create and share everything from webcomics to animated videos as easily as if you were playing a video game. Imagine if you didn't like the ending of Game of Thrones, like everyone. You could make your own the way it should have been. You can even develop and monetize your own brand based on the original content you create and share. And while there's lots of options that do one thing, NeverEnding is the only platform that gives you art and makes it easy, fast, and fun to create versatile content with representative characters. We've had really great traction for an early stage company. We started January 2020 and went on to validate the idea in June with a 30-day crowdfunding campaign, earned nearly $20,000 in revenue from 185 future customers. And this December, we launched a single feature beta. In the 5 months since we launched that beta, we've grown to over 3,200 engaged users, 16% of whom are paid users. And while our average time on app is over 20 minutes, which is great, every week, more than 30% of our users actually spend 30 minutes or more engaged. We have a really diverse monetization strategy as well that doesn't rely on annoying ads. Browsing content is free, but content creators pay a small subscription for access to premium tools, plus microtransactions for additional options. We'll help creators monetize through select direct buy ads, ticket sales for exclusive content, brand sponsorships. As we grow, we can take advantage of B2B opportunities like revenue share from independent artists who will sell on our platform, commercial licensing, and white labeling for gaming and other IP. While NeverEnding is perfect for kids, screenwriters, authors, really anyone, our focus initially is on super users who will attract additional follow-on customers. So tabletop gamers, streamers, minority and other underrepresented influencers. And this focus is going to help keep our customer acquisition costs low. Finally, we've identified an early service obtainable market of 147 million with the opportunity to quickly scale to 1.5 billion within 5 years of launching the full platform. And our team can do this. Our director of development, art director, chief admin officer, and myself all have prior startup experience. And I'm no stranger to impossible odds. I built myself from teen homelessness to 20+ year career in business development, marketing, and strategy. We're raising a $1 million pre-seed round to help build out the full platform, grow to over 1 million users, and reach profitability in 2022. Thank you.
Awesome. So just go ahead and put your cameras on and jump straight into it. And round of applause for Jamie in the chat.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Hey, Jamie. Thanks for sharing your story. I'm curious, obviously it's difficult to get anyone using an app and continuing using it. For the current customers that you have, what does the usage look like? How many people are still, actively using it? What are they using the app for mostly? I think that would be helpful to understand.
For sure. So like I said, we have a single feature beta. So really all you can do is create avatars, create kind of bios for those avatars, and browse other users and other characters. We've just added a couple of features, and really that's what they're doing. Every week, between 30 and 45% of users return to the platform. We do measure our churn. Right now, it has dropped last month to 5.56%. So we do see people coming back. We know that as we build out more features and give them more to do, they'll probably come back more often. Does that answer your question, Alex?
Thanks.
Sure.
Awesome job, Jamie. And just a quick note on that. So where are the users predominantly coming from right now, and kind of what channels do you plan to use to scale the user base going forward?
For sure. So we found out like Twitter and Facebook ads suck. They were not helpful for us. We recently discovered YouTube ads are helpful, but really we've had some great organic growth by just reaching out to different user groups and making a lot of friends in the gaming community, which is a community that we're targeting. So one of the things that we've done to grow organically is actually sponsoring Twitch streamers so they can use the art created on our platform in their things. We're going to see a big expansion of that because we've just kind of finalized a commercial license for One Bookshelf, which is an online publisher. And also it covers Twitch folks as well. So they'll be able to use our art free with attribution on their streams. As long as they are a paid user, sorry. Does that answer your question, Ryan? That's cool.
I'll jump in next. Jamie, first of all, great pitch, really succinct. So I just want to give you kudos on that. It's always great to see founders that are prepped. I'm curious, why I think you maybe touched on it, maybe I missed that, but why exactly are you going after the animation side of things? I feel like, so I'm just trying to understand your business a little bit further. Are you a tech animation studio, or are you a content platform creators? Where exactly would you see yourself there?
I'm so glad you asked that question. So right now, the majority of content that people can create and share online is camera facing like this. But like I said, a lot of people don't feel comfortable in front of the camera. And it also opens us up to being judged based on our appearance or how we perform in front of the camera. We think there's a lot of opportunity for many more interesting stories. And animation is a great equalizer because you don't have to fly to a location. You don't have to hire actors. You can just do voices yourself and so on. We see a benefit in being both an animation tool and the content platform because like Twitch, it gives us a really great advantage once we're launched because there's a huge switching cost. Additionally, we can then use our own platform to kind of drive content creation or drive user growth. And it gives us the opportunity to build on a really powerful network effect, which we wouldn't have if we were only providing the tools. Does that make sense, Reza?
Yeah, we'll dig into it. I'll let somebody else jump in. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Hi, Jamie. I'll jump in very quickly. I have three questions for you. The first one is, can you explain the downfall down to 5% that you had mentioned? What do you think would be your customer acquisition costs to reach 1 million users? And can you talk a little bit more about the use of the fund? Why $1 million?
For sure. So I think we have continued. So first, the reason why our churn has reduced is because we continue to add new assets and new features and respond really quickly to customers. We're hyper communicative. So I think that that's helping people feel like there's value and want to stay engaged. In terms of our CAC, we have some projections on that. Right now, our CAC is only $1.36 on average. So that's pretty low. Our LTV to CAC ratio is actually over 10. So we would want to spend some money on advertising, but not a lot. I think there's a lot of opportunity to do some major organic growth. The use of funds is really to fully develop the full platform, get all of the technology done. We need to finish creating or turning all of our 2D assets into 3D assets so that they're more easily animated. It's also going to allow us to build out the marketplace for artists, which is a really critical piece to growing organically, because if independent artists are selling their art for use on our platform, they're going to be proponents and brand ambassadors of the platform just to...
Jamie, your time's up, but I'll allow you to finish answering Marina. You had one more of hers to answer.
Yeah, for sure.
Do quickly, please.
Absolutely. But the smallest the critical thing is that really the smallest portion of that is on advertising. I think we have a huge opportunity to grow through relationships and also through partnering with other apps.
Andrew, do you have time for a last comment?
Comments are fine. I think no time for questions, but comments are fine, guys.
Sure. So Jamie, really interesting. Again, like I don't know if you know Canva. their business model. If you don't, I would really look into their model and how they have that marketplace for artists. I don't know if you're thinking about that. That also does not exist for video. If that does end up somewhere where you get interested, I think there's a lot of that can be there for people that do feel comfortable on camera too. I think that's probably the more majority. And I know you're going after a niche there, but Canva for video is an interesting concept you may want to think about as well.
100%. 100%.
Hopefully you can connect to the judges if they have specific comments or feedback based on your answers. I'd love to hear where Marina was going with some of her questions, and I know normally we'd like dive for 25 minutes into each person. We can't tonight, but thank you for coming, Jamie. You're awesome and great pitch.
Thank you.
We're bringing on Slava. Slavas, you are coming on screen. I always like to warn people first. You never know what's happening on those screens. So judges, we got Slavas. Go ahead and request access for your screen, Slavas.
Hey.
Hey, good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you as well.
I like this background. Are you outside in your patio? This is like.
Oh yeah,
patio.
no, it's just what's happened. My wife broken her leg last week, and we had to stay in my father's place. So this is his cabin now. So
well, you have a good background.
It's a cool place here, but
so judges, remember to press that video button, so that everyone is focused on.
Do you see my screen?
We do, Slavas. Your screen is now full. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm going to start your time now.
All right. So, hey, everyone. My name is Slavas Polkavicius, and I'm the founder of OFFSchool. And let's get straight to it. Who are we and what is OFFSchool? So the OFFSchool is the free language learning app. We can talk forever on how learning languages is important. Unfortunately, learning a foreign language can be expensive, especially if you take a college course or pay for a private tutoring. So we asked ourselves, how can we make learning to everyone? Allow me to present to you the OFFSchool, free language learning app, always free, always interactive, always live, streaming live lessons on a daily basis. The OFFSchool is that students can study as long as they want with us, but when they require an official certificate, they will have to purchase it at a cost of just £19. The monetization structure will also include an in-app and streaming advertising, international test shop, online merchandise shop, and competition analysis, we've realized that none of the largest providers of language learning apps are free, and neither of them are able to organize proper live lessons nor give tangible results to their clients. The OFFSchool here can. So let's ask ourselves, how can we? First of all, we have a network of more than 4,000 sales agents worldwide in more than 130 countries. Our calculated reach is more than 1 billion 7 to 19-year-olds. And more importantly, we have gathered the academic content for 45 years, which can be used. Revenues are £29 million by 2023, and calculations made based on the sales of accredited certificates of languages presented on the screen, starting with English over the first year and followed by other. Our profit margin is 31%, and the payback period is less than 3 years. OFFSchool's post-money valuation has been set to £5.3 million by Seeders.com. We are currently at the early stage with MVP launch on the 5th of July. We have already went through a successful pre-seed stage when received 220,000 British pounds. Current rounds target is £500,000 with almost half already funded through the successful crowdfunding campaign on Seeders.com, where we've raised 252K. The success of the project is hardly possible without the team and me as the head of this project with 20 years experience in international education, including strategic management and successful exits. Laurent Potier, my co-founder and owner of the leading educational agency in Belgium, is developing our sales and referral program. Christopher Vitalik, Cambridge University alumnus and 40 years experience of academic management, can be a very big development. Our CTO, John Craig, owner of multiple manufacturers in Düsseldorf, Germany, and Mantas Barčius, my fellow Lithuanian, previously worked at Skype, Microsoft, while at TonyLab, Mantas has led several teams and developed winning gambling and gaming apps for the international organizations. Our team is much wider, Our architects are currently working the studio, which is currently being created in Düsseldorf. Here you can see the development of the constructions of our first
You
stage.
got about 30 seconds left.
Thanks, Andrew. And the best example of our teams, as well as the network strength, is the advisory board, which consists of professionals from all over the world and various industries, including IT, education, public relations, investment, finance, constructions. So to conclude, we with our experience and presence in international education, with our strength in marketing and branding and our professional team, we strongly believe we are going to transform learning by making quality education accessible to millions. And we invite you to join us on this journey. And that's the pitch. So let's get straight to them.
Thanks, Slavas. Happy to start. Can you just say a bit more about the customer acquisition strategy and what the 4,000 sales agents are doing to spell that out?
All right. So generally speaking, we bought the company which called Sal Education. We're going through this. I'm in educational industry for the last 20 years. So we do have the partners and close partners and distribution system in 138 countries at the moment. For the OFFSchool, we have the educational travel agencies in 48 countries, which already process, and we can reach more than 80% teachers on land in every single classroom with the help of our representatives. So generally speaking, we've created the referral pot, which consists of their 20% commission to the local agencies around the world. And when I say local agencies, that means we know them, we've met them, we work with them for more than 20 years. And this is the strategy of how we're going to be doing the acquisition, so we can get into every single classroom around the world.
Just to be clear, who's delivering the content?
We are delivering the content. We have the content for 45 years. The company which we bought last year was 1976, and they have the whole content in the bookshelves.
Okay, gotcha. I'll pass it over.
Guess I'll jump in. I guess, learning a new language is obviously a very crowded space. I guess, beyond it just being free, I think it needs to be just a way superior experience. Like, I guess, is the fact that it's free enough, you think, to sort of differentiate you from some of the other tools out there?
Yeah. Of the language learning apps have this strategy of their approach of implicit learning. So generally speaking, what you do, you have the cards which you're opening and you're trying to learn there by watching not the lessons, but usually it's type of the gamification. So the maximum what you can reach being, learning the language, you can reach maximum B1 level, which is the low intermediate. That means it's very limited. So generally speaking, what we are creating, we're taking the whole platform which already exists. Let's take Memrise, let's take Bubble, let's take the Duolingo. So we will have as part of the program as ours. But the main thing and the main content is going to go through the live and on-demand lessons. So this is what we're going to do. And every single day we will be doing it's going to be by 2023. We are planning to have 250 live lessons per day. And we will be doing it, organizing everything from the studios, which we're creating. So everything's going to be professional. Every single studio has 3 cameras, different angles. It's going to look more as their TV than like a Zoom regular lesson. So when it comes to the professional content, we are doing quite well in marketing. Last year, we won several international awards in branding and marketing. In D&D awards in London, Dieline awards in LA for doing their marketing stuff. So we know how to produce the content. We know how to make the content and make it nice for everyone.
Hey, Slavas.
Hey.
Interesting. I'm just trying to take it all in and figure out what. And I'm not trying to put you in a box, but are you trying to become like the Peloton for learning languages, like in the fact that you're recorded studios, you have live and on demand, and that's how it would be streamed? Like maybe I'm missing it because I saw a video or a picture of a studio, but you're going to be touching 1 billion people. So where exactly are you?
So this is what we're doing, where we are going to be reaching 1 billion people. So the main idea for us is to do the proper lessons for everyone. So everyone would be able to get the proper education, which usually not everyone can afford to do. So basically, what we want to do an app with all the live lessons on a daily basis, on-demand lessons on a daily basis. We are creating the studio where everyone is going to be shot. So generally speaking, it's the professional teachers who are going to be ready with the screenplays, with everything. So it's a synthesis. It's a symbiosis for us in between their TV programs, educational programs, and the app. And here we are putting this all together. The other thing, which is, the advantage of ours, that we are accredited, the governmental accredited. So generally speaking, what we can do, every single student will be able to buy a proper accredited certificate, which the student will be able to use at the university, in the school, everywhere around. So if it's the German, we have the German government accreditation. Spanish language is going to be the Spanish government accreditation. If it's English, it's going to be UK and the US accreditations.
That is time, Slavas.
Yeah.
If the judges have final comments, if they could put them in the chat while Shannon's getting prepped, I'm sure Slavas would appreciate it. And a big round of applause to Slavas. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good luck.
It's great to have you.
You.
Shannon, I'm going to bring you on stage now. So you're coming on camera. And we should be able to see you momentarily. There we go. Hello there.
Hey.
Good to see you finally after all of our chatting.
Absolutely, and hopefully no technical issues today either.
It looks perfect. It's a beautiful kitchen. And good morning in Melbourne.
Thank you so much. I made sure all the dirty dishes were out of the way.
I can tell mine are in front of my computer as well. Don't worry. So go ahead and press screen share so we can see you.
Happy to. Let's do this quickly.
And great comments, judges.
This will allow me to do this. There we go. Wonderful. Okay, so I am hoping that this is actually showing up nicely.
Yep, it's full screen. I can see you perfectly. You ready to roll?
Wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone. I actually really look forward to introducing you to Pronto, where we're about smart, safe, and sustainable parenting. If you've ever been through the bottle feeding process yourself, this is what parents have to deal with. So they have to prepare, wash, sterilize, and then carry up to 8 bottles at a time with them when they're out and about. It's 2 kilos of weight. It takes an hour. It exposes babies to viruses and bacteria that collect on the bottles, because sometimes it's 24 hours before they get to that last one. It's exposure to microplastics and also plastic in the environment, as all those bottles, well, 91% of them end up in landfill. That's why we developed Pronto, the world's first inbuilt sterilizer. It's literally 5 minutes to prepare, and it's only 1 bottle that you ever have to deal with. Because of this, it's very lightweight. It sterilizes directly before feeding, and it sterilizes the bottle and the water at the same time, meaning you can use water, drinkable tap water even, from any source when you get to either the cafe, library, or anywhere you might be, including on an airplane. That's kind of a moot point at the moment. It's low exposure to microplastics, and because this bottle can be used for multiple babies across multiple families, we're reducing that plastic going into landfill. Now, 85% of babies actually receive some form of bottle feeding by the time they're 6 months old. What this means is in the US, there's actually 3.2 million bottle-fed babies right now. If we look to China, this is actually more like 12.4 million, and that's actually 30% of the global market. And speaking of global, it's actually a $2.7 billion industry, and one that we hope to get into by supplying our products through to brick and mortar stores, meaning expos, pharmacies, large chain retailers, and boutique baby stores. And let's not forget e-commerce. So through our own website and places like Amazon and AliExpress as well. The pricing model for our product is $115. And we offer other payment options via online, and that's a refurbished model. Think your typical iPhone pricing model, and also buy now, pay later option as well, making it as accessible for as many parents as possible. Now, we've been through a number of acceleration programs, to be precise. We've raised 5 rounds of funding. 1 was friends and family, 3 was a VC that was backing one of the acceleration programs, and 1 of those was a equity crowdfunding campaign. We've taken our idea from concept through to multiple prototypes over the last 2 years, and we've also got a board of management now supporting us. To protect ourselves, we've patented our initial design. We've registered our product here in Australia and also in China, and we're working towards a global branding strategy, which is really important for a product like ours in our space, and also future design patents actually for our product going forward. So far, we have 300 interviews for parents in this space. That's how we were able to develop our product to the stage it's at. We've got 400 customers on a wait list, which we gained through traction testing online and also through physical expos that we've been attending over the last couple of months. We've just about to sign an Australian distributor, and the best part is we're actually in conversations with a global distributor, actually Mayborn, which is one of the top baby bottle manufacturers in the world, about a possible licensing deal for our technology. We've won multiple design awards, and we're recognized globally now for a product that's being compared to Apple, which is quite amazing. There's myself, I'm Shannon Gilliland. I've previously founded 4 startups. 2 of those were co-founded, 2 were solo, 10 years of business experience. I'm a customer for my problem, and I've also got a grad cert in entrepreneurship and innovation. I've got an amazing team supporting me. We've got branding, product development, IP, distribution, as well as sales. And that board of directors, as I was mentioning, are helping us with our marketing, growth strategies, commercialization, specifically medtech as well, and mergers and acquisitions. And
your time has ended, but you can finish up as you wish.
Okay, thanks. That was quick. We're looking to raise $515,000, which will allow us to launch in Australia, sign that licensing deal, but also then look to expand globally as we plan to. Again, my name's Shannon Gilliland, founder of Pronto, and I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you so much for your time. Okay. Everyone's very quiet. I know baby bottles aren't as sexy as some of the other things going on at the moment. So.
I think it's really cool. Maybe, Shannon, just a bit more on how the tech works. Like, how does the sterilization process work?
Yeah, sure. So I actually have one of my prototypes here. So this is the product here. You quite literally fill it. Imagine this is a tap. And if you're breast milk feeding as well, you can basically just pop this bottle, leave it empty, grab your teat, wherever it is right here. So we've actually patented the collar of this product as well as the technology. Press the button. Sorry, there you go. And the bottle's actually sterilizing the bottle, the teat, and the water at the same time. So for the very first time, a parent can actually literally wash the bottle, throw it in their bag empty and sterilize it empty, and they don't have to do anything else. So there's no, half an hour preparation process or hour preparation process of having to carry that with them. So UVC tech, which is currently used in the medical and dental field.
Sorry, Shannon, just quickly, did you say you're using UV as the sterilization method?
UVC specifically, yes.
Okay. So first of all, I just want to comment. I have a little 1-year-old during COVID, keenly aware of the issue. I think it's super interesting. What's the expansion? What's the SKU expansion? I mean, hardware is really tough, obviously, but I just want to understand, like, where.
Sure. The idea is once we've actually launched in Australia is we actually want to launch this product over into Asia as well. The idea with our licensing deal with Mayborn is they will actually manage all regions except for Australia, Asia, and India. And what that allows us to do is to actually build our brand recognition, because branding is so important for this product, and allow us regions to actually expand into with our own product. And then once our licensing deal is complete, we can either renegotiate with the future product development we have, or then launch into other regions with our future product development ourselves, and hopefully with a big enough brand that's recognized.
Hi, Shannon. I'm going to time in very quickly. I really like the product, and I think that was a great pitch. So thank you for that. I have 2 questions for you. The first one is, does it replace the sterilizer at home? And the second question is, can you tell a little bit the precise number that you give us, 515K for the launch? What would be the use of the fund?
Sure. The first one is yes, it absolutely replaces your sterilizer at home. The idea, because now you don't have 5 or 6 bottles that you're pre-preparing at home, you've just got this, it sits within the bottle, and you literally don't have to have that benchtop sterilizer. So I think there's probably a few people who recognize what you would typically have on your bench. This is it. This is all that's left on your bench now, is a single bottle with this. Ideally, if you've got twins, you might have 2 bottles, but again, it's so much less space. There's no bottles lost in your drawers, you know? And then as to your second question, Marina, can you repeat the second question?
Give us a very precise number for the fundraising. So you're raising 515K for the launch, and I thought that was great because apparently you know exactly what you're looking for, and so I wanted to hear a little bit more about the use of the fund.
Certainly, absolutely. So in Australian dollars, that's 675,000. It is quite a specific number. We're raising a full round of just over $1 million. We've applied for a number of grants to actually back us in the remainder of that fundraising. The funds are to get us through to prototyping, testing, and manufacturing the product, marketing, branding, and expos for this specifically in Australia, consultants, staff, and sales hire, the legal, accounting, and overhead fees as well, and the completion of those branding strategies for us to launch here in Australia. The next value inflection point we see is once we've actually launched our product is the next stage that we'll look to raise another round of external funding.
Seconds, guys. Any advice or final thoughts for Shannon?
Shannon, I think you will be tremendously successful in Asia. So I highly suggest that you consider this. I know that fertility rates are low, but there's still a significant market size. So I think this product would be widely adopted. This type of sterilizer actually widely adopted for other practices in Asia. So please consider this. And you're doing great. Good luck.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone, for your questions too. Thank you.
Shannon, final thought. Just one thing, I guess, as a word of not caution, but just something to keep in mind. I think VCs in general are pretty, sometimes puts you off just because of the high CapEx that typically is associated with hardware. Saying that you've already done 5 rounds of funding and it sounds like you still need to go through manufacturing and prototyping and a lot to even get started, I think that could be a little daunting, and you may reinforce that notion that we already have. So you may want to think about that messaging where if you have traction in terms of sales or something in terms of validation, come up with that first and what you've used the funds for, because we want to understand how you can be capital efficient.
Okay, amazing, great feedback. Thank you so much.
Guys, but Ryan, if you want to put your final thought in the chat, I saw you trying to unmute. I apologize.
I shot you a DM. We can spend more time on it. I think, in addition to Reza's point, I think competitive landscape and unit economics is something I'll probably highlight, but I know it's a short pitch.
Yes, I do. Thank you again. And feel free to reach out if you have any further questions. Thank you so much.
Great job, Shannon. Zachary, we're going to bring you on now. You're coming on screen. Thank you for joining. I can see you. Let's test the audio.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Perfect.
Go ahead and do a screen share. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, you had the full screen up from the last one. It was too engrossing.
Yes. There we go. So far it's not full screen yet. I recommend going to I think it's view, or it could be slideshow. Oh no, you just closed the screen.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pop it back.
Okay.
After it's in full screen, that seems to work a little better.
There we go.
Everybody see okay?
We can. Are you ready to roll?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I'm going to start your time now.
All right. So my name is Zachary Ratliff, and I'm excited to introduce you to Proof and Recovery. Like all healthcare companies, we're looking to improve care, improve outcomes, and reduce the cost of care. This is a personally important mission for me. My father passed when I was 17 years old of an opioid addiction, and things haven't gotten any better. Patients still lack the tools to succeed, administrative staff lack the data to justify treatment, and clinicians don't have the insights into a patient's daily struggle to be able to make effective treatment planning decisions. This ultimately comes down to data silos that affect the patient and understanding who the relationship is between during that care and who needs data when. To fix this, we've actually put together a robust prototype for a licensed web portal. It socializes the data across care within a provider and downstream between providers, because it follows a patient through care and they're the actual one in ownership of their data, regardless of who they go to. This is particularly important in the clinical setting, where at higher levels of care, clinicians can teach patients how to use skills directly in their app so that when they progress through care and they have time where they're both in treatment and then at home, they can use those skills digitally that they've learned on their phone and build agency there and attachment to the therapeutic process. This way, when they finally end in outpatient or in recovery, they have these tools for life on that free patient app they can carry with them. Understanding the relationship building that with technology also allows us to gather a lot more data about the care that the patient has received so that we can actually do quality improvement exercises with providers. The perfect time is now for this. Not only do we have the waves for the technology and the value-based care from the Affordable Care Act, but a lot of people have just had really robust experiences with telehealth and are understanding the value as a patient that technology brings to their care. This is a massive industry. Unfortunately, there are 4 million people that are treated annually, and that represents just about 20% of those that need care. It also means that there's a $150 million licensing opportunity. We think that we're poised to succeed compared to some of our competitors because we really focus on coupling that provider care relationship during treatment and then providing the patient support when they're in recovery and outpatient, either through rewards programs, social programs, and other activities on the phone. There's a B2B software as a service model where we do license to the providers, $100 for clinicians, administrative staff, utilization review. And then there's a lot more opportunity beyond the 23 billion that we're estimating in year 5 if we were to build out and be able to build out a outpatient self-service model and establish and monetize value-based care reimbursements. We've got industry partnerships lined up on the provider side and then on a billing side as well. And we've actually been talking to several insurance companies out in California. They have fantastic things to say about us and are actually investors as well. We are doing an equity crowdfunding as a proof of concept where providers are actually investing directly in us because this is a solution that they need in their practice. We have myself.
Warning, your time has expired. Any other additional time will eat into your feedback, but you're welcome to finish up.
2 great founders on the clinical and on the operational side of treatment, and we're looking to raise $2.5 million for an 18-month runway.
Zachary, I'm going to jump in for the first question. So just as a reminder, we're investors in AI, and that really prompted my curiosity. So I wanted to know 2 things from you. The first one is, can you describe a little bit more what is the AI doing and who is the person, the key person developing the AI or your AI engineers within the team? And the second question is from a user standpoint. So when you have a user logging into the app, what is the workflow of the tech? What is happening on the back end?
So for the AI portion, what we're going to be doing is actually looking to inform care, not create engagement. So we're going to be looking to identify when a patient is at risk. You know, there are logic things we can tell if an individual's a history of amphetamine, cocaine usage, and they're up, you know, extremely late, things like that. We know that those are triggers. And so what we're actually going to look to do is connect the known passive phone data to those urges that people log on their phone and the clinical assessments so that we can have a greater understanding to develop risk scores. And then what was the second part of your question?
The second part of my question was to know who's the key person developing the AI within your team, and what is the workflow of the tech from a user when the user starts logging in, what is happening? If you have a very brief workflow that you can share.
So when the user logs on from the patient side, they are prompted to input some of their urges throughout the day. But the big piece that we want to do is push the digital therapeutics through learning exercises that are assigned by a clinician, and then have the ability for when they have an urge, that's when they go to the app to actually do the urge logging. A lot of other companies have logging multiple times through day, and it's arduous for the patient. So we're really focused on the response to that urge. On the provider side, we streamline the intake process and gather all of that data so that we can utilize it in the development of treatment plans, so we can then suggest exactly which urges and skills should be used and tracked.
Okay, can I ask a quick follow-up question, if that's okay, very quickly? How did you train your data set and your AI model, and how many data points are you using?
Yeah, so we're pre-product still, like I mentioned before, it's all prototype. So this is similar to work that I had done while actually I was at Blue Cross Blue Shield in projecting out the risks of both cardiac and pulmonary diseases. So that's where we're basing that off of. And the individuals that we're talking to help advise us on the more nuances through the passive phone data is actually through the Center for Behavioral Health and Technology out of Dartmouth, Nicholas Jacobson.
Left, if folks want to jump in quick, maybe you can have time for a response or two.
All right, I'll quickly jump in. Hey, Zach, cool pitch. I'm getting more familiar with the space too. Two concerns I have, would love for you to address them for me here. So one, you guys are going to be doing some value-based care and understanding and kind of making recommendations on treatment plans. But I didn't see anybody on your team with any sort of medical background, and maybe you can help clarify like who's advising on that side. And then the second piece of things is your pre-product, but $2.5 million is a huge raise for pre-product and also for only 18 months, especially because you're licensing that you don't need to build like a huge pipeline. So where's the money? Like, how do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Dr. Schneider's actually adjunct professor and a clinician as well. She treats both substance use and eating disorders and is well known throughout the space. So she'll be heading that. We will be needing a medical asset as well to advise, but for the clinical piece, she's done the development there. The reason why it is such a large ask, and we're doing it in a rolling breakup, but there needs to be FDA approval for any of the predictive portion. And we are doing it licensed, but we are actually going to be doing direct quality improvement type sales through residential treatment, through IOP, getting the most high risk patients to fall in love with our app and get a beneficial treatment where they end up sticking with recovery into outpatient and then using that network effect. So we have to start with a sales team at those larger institutions where I've worked with them on a nonprofit, and they need that help to get the implementation. It is very, it's not a very tech forward area.
Are out of time, but if anybody wants to type final thoughts in the chat or directly to Zachary, I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Great pitch.
Yes.
And a round of applause for Zachary. Cheers. We have Vinko up next. Vinko, I'm going to bring you on stage. Thanks for coming in just the nick of time. Ben, thank you so much for requesting already. You'll be on in about 9.5 minutes. Vinko, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Could you go ahead and request for your screen, or sorry, press share screen? Amazing.
Yes.
I can see it. It's not full screen yet. Oh, there we go. Now it's full screen. Beautiful. Are you ready to ready to roll?
Yes.
Okay, I will start your time now.
Good evening. I've led software product development for 2 decades. Every web application is the sum of its features. Feature development takes weeks or even months, but some companies, like Stripe or MailChimp, take only hours to implement. We call those features as a service. But they only make up a small portion of a web application. What if every feature could be deployed as easily as Stripe or MailChimp? My name is Vinko Buble. My team and I are building a rapid feature deployment platform that streamlines the deployment of features as a service. Connecting all layers for developers is what made Stripe and MailChimp successful. Tor does the same for any feature. Developers identify from hundreds of features on the Tor platform, features for user accounts, checkout, calendars, chatbots. They customize through the code so they can achieve any functionality they need, then deploy the features they selected into the application. Let me show you some examples like user checkout, user management, event schedule, and hundreds more, all connected to APIs, fully operational, ready to be deployed. The closest alternative to Torque are a few companies that offer feature as a service. Other alternatives like integration platforms, APIs, and web components take a lot of development time. We are live with the first customer, and we are currently building a new set of features to serve 4 more customers in the queue. We will have our first revenue in June, and Torque started with a series of customer interviews that reveal how challenging it is to implement new features and validated our solution. I went through a couple of exits, and my CTO made one exit. My CTO and I spent 7 years scaling a cybersecurity platform together. My CRO and I spent 2 years running a local accelerator program together. Our engineering team had already successfully built and scaled platforms before. We based our revenue model on service usage with 2 metrics. First, subscription for each feature a customer adds to their application. And second, the scale needed to serve their users. We are in the rapidly growing market that doubled in the last 6 years and will double in the next 6 years. Our revenue potential in the US and Canada is $3.5 billion. Our next milestone is onboarding paying customers. We will grow by partnering with software agencies, accelerators, and cloud providers. So far, we raised $70,000 from friends and a grant from a local institution. We are in the process for additional $125,000 to onboard 20 paying customers and get us ready for a seed round to build and scale the Tor product. Again, my name is Vinko Buble, and I'm looking forward to answer your questions. Thank you.
Hey, Vinko. Thanks for sharing your pitch. Obviously, it's a very broad value proposition. I'm curious to learn, what are the features that people need most, and who is your initial target customer that's suffering the most from this problem?
Yeah, great question. So we are currently targeting early stage SaaS companies. And the features we are developing range from user registration, checkouts, calendars, and similar features that usually take a lot of time, but they're pretty when you look at them.
Early stage SaaS is still, it's super broad. I guess. How are you, finding your initial customers? How are you reaching out to them and onboarding them?
Yes. So it's usually, so far it's been startup conferences that I attended, and looking for people who are behind the schedule in their product development, and then showing them how Tor can accelerate their development.
Vinko, just so I understand, are you building, are you becoming like an API library and you're building each of those, or are you becoming like the GitHub here of all the different API connections? Like, help me understand this a little.
Yes. So, we are we becoming API library? So it's more of a library and gallery type of where you can choose these features. And it is, it's like, how Stripe did it with the providing simple payment form, MailChimp, some Mapbox, simple mapping, and this. So think of these like, having them on a single place where you can choose and customize the features you're looking, and it's like integrates directly into your application, fully operational.
Yeah, thanks for that clarification. So interesting solution. How do you think about like competitive moat? What's stopping is your competition from building a library as well and going head to head with you? How do you think about that?
That is a great question. So there are two parts of it. One is that the technology itself to integrate this in the front end in a more generic way is proprietary, and there's more to it. I don't want to go technically into it. So that is a piece of the advantage, and the other piece is that we plan to build this network of developers and to have like this huge amount of components, and also already developers who would be assisting companies in providing features.
Hi, Vinko. I just wanted to have a quick clarification. That was a great pitch, by the way. I wanted to hear a little bit more on the code aspect. I think that, in my perspective, a lot of people tend to go for a no-code or a low-code solution, and so I wanted to hear a little bit from you on that. Do you fall in the low-code section, or is the code really up to the users to go as they wish and as deep as they want?
That is a great question. The no-code, low-code is targeting mostly non-technical stuff to build technical capabilities. Our target market are software engineers. So from that perspective, we kind of don't align. And yes, we are delivering you can say we are delivering like no-code kind of solution to software engineers, but still these are the codes that they are integrating. And then can customize through the code. So like a low code for software engineers, but yeah.
Languages would you support?
So we started currently with React on the front end, and front end is where we integrate. We plan to cover Angular and Vue. Those are the three primary platforms, and then our scale is the technology I mentioned that we are working on is to support like cross-platform integration, and then we will be able to integrate many different things on many different places.
Got about 30 seconds left, guys. If anyone has any final advice for Vinko.
Yeah, I think unlike, I guess, some of the other pitches, you're obviously raising pretty modest amounts of money, Vinko. On one side, I like that you want to prove out the model. Just make sure, as you're showing, you're getting your initial clients, you're getting capitalized on that side. Make sure you're going to capitalize the company enough. Otherwise, for the amounts of money that you're going to be raising, you're going to take a very long time to hit venture scale. So that's the one thing to keep in mind. I think your goals are very realistic, but maybe too conservative to some degree. So just think about that.
Okay. May I take 3 seconds and ask you what the amount you would like to see there, so to not have you such a concern?
We're already over time. I've given you an extra 30 seconds. Maybe type that reply in the chat, Reza. Is that cool? Sweet, I appreciate it. So sorry, Vinko. I just want to be fair. I did give you an extra 30 seconds, just to be clear. Thank you so much for coming on stage, and would love to hear the reply in the chat. I think that's really good advice. You don't want to be too conservative when it comes to venture capital, or at least you want to also show that upside. Ben, I'm going to bring you on stage now. You should be coming on right away. There we go. I can see you. Can we test the audio real quick?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Yep.
Go ahead and share your screen.
There we go. Is that coming up?
It is. It's full screen. It's perfect. Yep. Reza, could you make sure to turn that, press that camera button? Thank you, sir. Are you ready to roll?
Yeah. Yep. All good.
Perfect. I'm going to start your time now.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Bott. I'm the founder and CEO of Unleashed. We're an Australian company that's built the Facilitate virtual reality platform to enable training and learning designers to easily and affordably scale the use of VR. We aim to revolutionize learning and training for more than 1 billion people, and we've built the platform, business model, and partnerships to do this. So countless examples are now emerging showing VR's benefits for learning and training. For example, Hilton reduced training times from 4 hours to 20 minutes using VR. And PwC found VR learners are 275% more confident to apply their skills. However, unlike the $250 billion e-learning market, VR currently lacks scalable platforms that allow organizations to create and administer large volumes of content and trainees and integrate data into existing tech stacks. So the result is underperforming ROIs and investments made in this space, and many potential customers waiting for the technology to mature. So Facilitate solves this problem as a flexible and affordable SaaS platform that helps customers and partners to rapidly create, manage, and deploy VR modules via our self-authoring and administrative functions. So Facilitate is a core enabling platform in our ecosystem. So one of our early customers, Pacific National, are forecasting saving millions in costs and efficiency gains by leveraging Facilitate system. Our value-added resellers can provide more mature, stickier solutions for their clients, generate more revenues, and focus on what they do best, content and consulting. And our headset partner, HTC Vive, and their resellers can sell more headsets by bundling our enabling software. So why Facilitate? Well, our competitors either lack content flexibility and necessary administrative functions for enterprise, or they cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and are not accessible to 99% of organizations that could actually benefit from VR. Our go-to-market strategy is driven by strong partner synergies. So enterprise headset leader Vive has already introduced us to 2 of their resellers as we work towards bundling Facilitate licenses with headset sales in Australia and the US for education customers. We've also signed some initial content and solution partners that are beginning to deliver services to clients using Facilitate. And towards the end of this year, we'll launch a transaction side to the platform so they can license content to other platform customers. Our sizable addressable market is the global VR education and training sector, forecast to rapidly grow at 59% and 62% from 2 billion to 34.5 billion over the next 5 years. So based on the scalability of our product and business model, our goal is to reach an ARR of 163 million within 5 years. So as a former commercial lawyer with an MBA, I lead our Perth-based team that has extensive experience working together. We've been able to build the entire Facilitate platform in-house due to our unrelenting focus on execution. We have a team of international advisors that support us across VR, marketing, product, and education. So investing in us means investing in a team that's already built a scalable product in a rapidly growing market with the right partners and model to achieve an extraordinary return. So after extensively funding the business myself and with additional family support, we're now preparing Facilitate to grow to be the world's leading VR platform with the guidance of experienced investors. We're seeking $550,000 that will set Facilitate up for significant growth by validating our business model, formalizing reseller relationships, and launching our partner program and content marketplace. So thank you very much. I look forward to your questions.
Pitch of the entire evening. That's exactly 4 minutes.
Well
Nice
rehearsed.
job.
Thanks.
So time's ticking.
Yeah. Nice job, Ben. Happy to kick it off. Can you just say a bit more about how you're growing the supply side of the business? So like, who are you targeting from a content supply perspective, and how are you getting them onboarded? And then similar question on the demand side, like, who are you targeting from a customer point of view?
Yep. So from the content development side, we focusing initially in the Australian market, looking at who else is out there actually building enterprise solutions, so custom enterprise solutions initially, because the majority of what's been done in this space at the moment is certainly in the training sector, it's custom solutions for organizations. So VR agencies that have got either expertise in 360 videography and delivering solutions to clients, or CGI based agencies as well. On the demand side, certainly in the training sector, it's actually our VARs who are doing the business development, because they're already out there, they've got the relationships, and they're delivering services to their clients. So they're essentially generating the demand. In the education space, the partnership that we're working with HTC5 and then going through their resellers, it's essentially leveraging their existing channels and their networks. So Vive have got their distributors and resellers globally, and they're looking to bundle how we can bundle Facilitate together with them. So essentially it's organizations at the end of the buying journey, looking to purchase the headsets and working out, well, what's the software that they can use. So that's the demand side in the education sector.
Hey, Ben. Cool pitch. I think it's interesting hearing so many companies like understanding how marketplace can be so sticky in their business models. We've seen that quite a bit already in the other pitches. Okay, so help me understand here. So at the enterprise level, I'm a big organization. I want to implement VR training. Don't I only need it for my own organization's needs, right? Like, isn't that why custom solutions are like going through VR right now? Is because I need to build for my needs? Because otherwise, let's say I'm coming to you, you have to go find a supply for somebody who's going to build it for me, but there's no cross-pollination between me and a different industry, unless you're going to tell me that you're going after certain niches. You know, if you're going after mining or oil rig, like security management, cool, I understand there's synergies there. But otherwise, it's very one-off. How do you think about that?
I think it depends on what subject you're talking about. So there's certain soft skills that are generally applicable, and so one piece of content can be used regardless of the organization and the industry. But our platform, it also enables, so it doesn't matter if it's custom or if it's off-the-shelf content, but to be deployed across a large group of workers. So one of the problems is that content, whatever the nature is, it sits on certain headsets in one office, one location. And unlike e-learning, it's not integrated into the overall organization's tech stack. So what our platform does, it actually takes that content and then lets you administer it with thousands of trainees. Doesn't matter where they're based, but you have one central system to actually run those training sessions through, track who's done what and when, so you can tick your compliance boxes and all that type of thing as well.
Hey, Ben, thanks for the pitch. There's obviously a ton of money that's been invested in the VR space, and there's a lot of platforms out there. I guess, how do you see yourself as defensible to maybe some of the other competition? And in the future as more companies come into the space, how do you keep that moat?
Mm-hmm. Yep, no, that's a very, very good question. So I think there's two angles that we're really working on. So our thesis really is that for VR to really take off and be ubiquitous, the platform needs to be a central part of the solution. So previously, people have just looked at, well, you've got a headset, you've got content, but what we're trying to do is essentially become stickier right in the middle, a core part of the overall ecosystem. So working with the likes of HTC Vive and trying to get bundled into their hardware sales, I think is puts us in a very good position. But then the actual underlying model as well that we're working with, where we've got the solution providers who are actually generating the content using our platform to deliver their services to their clients, it puts us in a good position with their clients and with them going forward. And then once we open up the transaction side as well, that reinforces that. So they're already delivering custom solutions, but now they're actually generating passive income through the sale of content to other customers in the platform.
Ben, did anybody have any final just advice as opposed to questions?
I would just say when you're going up is your next round of funding, to have defined goals for your first customers, or some sort of ROI that shows that your platform is outperforming what else is out there in a way that's not arguable, I think will be really important.
Okay,
nice. Great job, Ben. Thank you for practicing your pitch, and that was very sharp. It was on point.
Thank you.
Cheers. Archel, I'm going to bring you on stage now. There we go. Hello, sir. Ooh, that's beautiful. Gosh, where are you tuning in from? I'm so curious right now.
I'm from Eastern Europe, Georgia.
Oh wow, but it's so beautiful. How is it sunny? Is it a fake background?
No, it's I'm in Miami, Florida now.
Oh well, that's why it's so freaking beautiful. I'm very jealous. Awesome. I see your screen. You're ready to go. You're tuning in from Miami. You got some sunshine to make you happy. You ready to roll?
Ready, let's go. Hi guys.
Okay.
I am a CEO of GenesisAI. So I'll start talking about what inspired us to start GenesisAI. So when I was working on my previous AI startup, I discovered probably the biggest problem in artificial intelligence space, which is most of the AI models are developed in silos. There is basically no connectivity among different AI tools. There is really no easy way for different ML models to exchange data, trade services, and learn from each other. It's very, very paradox. It's a crazy paradox that AI models, which are all about getting as many data as possible, they are not learning from each other. They are operating and existing in a closed environment. And we believe that this is probably the single biggest thing that hinders AI innovation. So we decided to solve this problem by creating a machine learning protocol, which basically is some sort of a constitution, basically a bunch of ifs and statements that specify how different AI tools can communicate, how they can exchange data, trade services, and so on. I guess a clear example is, for instance, let's say there is a speech recognition model and translation, or is this example with the image recognition model that we would like to work with image translation that can produce scene captioning. Two very distinct models being connected to each other using our AI protocol, which allows multi-AI agent interactions. And this is increasing not only functionality of AI tools and services in terms of 1 + 2 equals model 1 + model 2 equals model 3 that can do lots of different things. But it can also, we estimate, increase quality of these AI tools And this probably will be the biggest competitive advantage we're going to have against some of our competitors. We did lots of research, and here are 3 examples that specify how increasing accuracy rate happens. One of them is what we call validation accuracy, whereby it's basically upload sample data with correct results. Then we send this data to different AI suppliers on our platform. They compete against, and the best model is chosen in the end. To go back to a little bit more details of where we are now. So currently we have beta product up and running. We have 6 tools deployed on our platform. We are working on enabling this connectivity, which is very, very deep tech solution. And when it comes to where we want to go, we would like to gather potentially hundreds of thousands or millions of AI tools on our platform. All of these expert AI tools, if we enable them to interact with each other, we
30 seconds left.
We might be left with a solution that can potentially do hundreds of things. We are when it comes to stage, I guess we have few seconds left. We are Series A stage. We raised few million so far, and we are launching our Series A sometimes in the next few days. If we're on $4 million round.
It's all you. You guys there? Hello? Thanks, guys.
Hey, what was on the next slide that was just up there for a second? I think it had some customer data like appeared for a second. Okay.
Yeah, so
I guess, can you go into the business model a little bit? You know, how you're charging?
For sure, yes. So it's a great question. So our goal is to take a commission from the marketplace. So we'll be taking around 30% fee. Let's say AI supplier is getting paid $10,000 a year from a company who needs AI services. So we're going to take 30% from them.
Sorry, could you clarify there, Archel, a little bit? So they get the data set on day 1. Is this a recurring, like, is that library, I guess, consistently updated? So they pay $10,000 a year, so you get recurring revenue, or is it you get 30% at the time of transaction? What's
For sure, yeah. So we will be experimenting with 2 types of pricing. First will be a subscription type, where let's say a company pays $10,000 to use another company's AI tools that is deployed on our platform. So we will take 30% from that $10,000 a year. And second way we'll be experimenting with pricing is more on demand. For example, a seller will be paid X amount of dollars for each API request. For instance, every time someone needs to do speech recognition and pays, let's say, 5 cents for per 500 words, for example, or 5 megabytes of MP3 file, we will get commission from there.
Hey, quick question on the spend so far. So what did you guys use the $1 million for? And then also, if you could elaborate on the 25 partnerships for the traction, and at what point you guys are going to start realizing revenue.
Yeah, so we can raise few million so far. We raised 3 rounds, angel, pre-seed, and seed round. We have been doing most of our fundraising through equity crowdfunding space, and which allows us to get not only investors, but also lots of users. When it comes to what we'll be using our money for, we'll be mostly spending around business development, customer acquisition, user growth, user retention, and also technology development, which mostly has 2 parts. So the first part is our AI marketplace, right? Like front-end user interface people interact with. Our goal is to maximize usability of this AI marketplace. And the second part is protocol, right? This infrastructure that allows different AI tools to communicate with each other. So AI marketplace is relatively easy compared to the protocol, which is one of the most challenging problems in the tech, but I think that will give us lots of defensibility in the future.
Sure. Arjo, can you clarify how many customers do you have so far? How many transactions have actually happened?
Yes, so when it comes to customers, so we have two sides. So we have buyers, these are users. We are targeting retail investors. These are investors who are looking to use AI tools to better understand what's going on in the markets. We have up to 1,000 users so far. We increased the number of users we have by multiple times in the last 12 months. On the seller side, we have around 25 companies. These are companies, AI companies or individuals who developed AI technology and are looking for ways to monetize it. And most of these companies are in our waiting list. We plan to deploy most of their AI solutions sometimes in the next few months once our protocol infrastructure is done. But so far, 6 tools we deployed on our platform have been developed by Genesis team.
And sorry, the other part was like, I mean, I understand the two sides now. So how much volume has actually been transacted?
Yes, so when it comes to currently, the way we treat about our traction is more when it comes to number of users we have and also number of suppliers we have, right? So these users go on our platform and use tools that are deployed on our platform, which has been done by us so far, right? So the next few months, we will be mostly measuring our traction by how much money we are making, right? Which will be function of the volume, right? So we are not charging people any money right now, but in the future, we will be taking commission from this volume. So we will be trying to maximize the volume of USD transactions.
Hey, we're already a minute over. That was a great pitch, and if anyone has any final thoughts, feel free to show them in the chat. And thank you for tuning in from beautiful Miami.
Thank you.
I'm very jealous. I'm in London right now, nowhere near as nice. Thomas, I'm going to bring you on stage. Archie, I will take you off. Thomas, can you go ahead and share your screen, and can you speak a little bit so we can test the mic?
Good afternoon. Does that work?
Perfect. Yes, it does. Thank you.
And my screen should be shared. Can you see it now?
It's not full screen yet. There we go.
Ah,
perfect. I'm going to start your time now.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm going to change up the topic a little bit to talk about how interested you are in understanding what is in the food that comes onto your table and how effective is it in getting there. The company, Tom Rump, CEO, Measure.io, and we're focused on giving the earth a voice. So today, in worldwide food and ag, we're wasting over 1 billion tons of food, soil, and roughly half of the world's drinkable water. The Measure.io platform that we've created came from real-life experience of Mike Prorock, our CTO founder, trying to understand how to change a pasture into a sustainable growing facility. Couldn't find anything that was relevant to help him. So we've created the EarthStream platform. It's, in our opinion, the only auto ML platform for discovering, analyzing, and predicting the issues that impact global food supply, health, and shared natural resources. How we do it is using continuous learning. So we're focused on problems driven by the environment, combining technical expertise and the deep knowledge of agriculture. And it's a geospatial time series segment. So we're talking about a specific location and what is happening what is happening today, what has happened in the past, and what we expect to happen. And we start with that location of interest, register that, pull in a variety of data streams. We verify all that information, then create a model or a series of models that describe what is happening, and most importantly, if you have an issue coming your way, what you should do and when you should do it. So that's the AutoML and continuous learning piece. We've had some folks talk about AI, etc. And the way that we deliver that information, because we're in the data science space, people say, well, that's all really interesting. Tell me the 3 things I need to know right now. So to the left is an example of our mobile app where we're telling people, here's your weather and your forecast. Here's what you should do for irrigation. And then more importantly, here is the risk profile over the next 24 hours, 72 hours, in some cases up to 10 days. So we're bringing in the series of data streams on the right. Our differentiator is the biological activity, pathogens, insects, and weeds. So I always ask myself the question, well, that's interesting, so what? So this is an example of a project we're working with Homeland Security and Customs Border Patrol. What we're doing, if you see on the left, we're bringing in all that data. We are doing a track and trace using blockchain to identify from a farm to the first processor, through to shipping, imports, all the way to retail. So with the project at Customs Border Patrol, is including Walmart. We're helping them track avocados from South America through to immigration or through importation, and then to the retail. They call it, I like to say this, they call it the guac chain, which is tracking avocados from farm to retail. For us, there are 2 customer sets here. One are the government sectors, Food and Drug, USDA, Customs Border Patrol, and on the trades, folks like Walmart, who's involved in this project, FedEx for transportation, Nestle, Kraft Heinz, Amazon, Whole Foods on the retail side. The second example of the work we're doing is tracking invasive species. To the bottom left is cotton. So we are identifying cotton pathogens that are moving from the region and what should be done about that. Time release fertilizer to the top left, and then invasives.
Your time's up, just so you know. Any more time will eat into your feedback, but you're welcome to finish.
I'm sorry, how much time do I have?
You have no time left, and any additional time eats into your feedback, but you're welcome to
so
finish.
I'll go fast. So we're doing work tracking COVID and biological threats. And here is the customers we're working with and our revenue stream from 50 grand in 2018 coming through Techstars. And then we're targeting 2 million in this year. And we're in the middle of a raise up to $1.5 million. So I'll stop there, take questions.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Thomas.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Alex.
No, please.
Okay, I'll jump in very quickly then. I think that was a very interesting platform, and I'd like to understand it a little bit more on 2 points. First of all, is when you track the avocados, like, do you track them down to the case level, or what is the level of that you can track, and how do you track them? I think that most tracking nowadays are based on QR code and things like that, so I'm a bit curious to know about that. And if you have time, can you explain a little bit more about the data points that you use for AI and training models?
Yes, so on the first point, from the farm, we are creating verifiable credentials that will say what product was raised, what seed, what chemicals, and the pathogens and the environment at the time of growth. Those verifiable credentials create a digital twin, so we're eliminating paper. It goes through to the first processor using blockchain through to shipping. And in the case of avocados, it's typically by container. A lot of avocados come into the US in air freight, and then through the importation process onto trucks and then to the end retail store. So we're working with Walmart to track that all the way through the process. And on to your second question, the data points we're collecting include from the climate environment, satellite drone, the disease modeling comes from many research institutions like you see here, Rutgers, University of Tennessee. And then we're also bringing in user data So the farms and Walmart and the shipping company, think FedEx, provide the data on the transport side so we can build the end-to-end supply chain.
Thanks, Thomas. Obviously, a super important problem that you're going out to solve. I guess just a point of feedback, and sort of similar to the last question, but when you're talking about that you track the avocado, supply chain, I think it would be helpful in future presentations to understand, specifically, what data is super relevant to that chain, to that supply chain. Like what is Walmart looking out for? What are the suppliers looking out for? Certain weather patterns, just to help us understand, like that specific use case itself.
That's helpful. The business case is 30% of all agriculture imports are held at customs. Walmart would like to use this digital platform to reduce the 30% to 10%, which is a huge savings to them in terms of yield, quality, etc. But yes, I agree.
Good answer. Yeah.
To build that out.
Hey, Thomas, I think actually, so that one key point solved one of my questions, because I was in the same boat as Alex, where I didn't know what the problem was exactly. My other point, though, is how are you incentivizing the farms to actually give you this data? What's in it for them here?
The interest for them is if they are able to provide a verifiable credential to, a lot of these are contract farmers, what they're able to do is to sell their avocados to multiple locations. So what's likely is our customer will be the first receiver, processor, or Walmart will likely give to the farmer the app for free, because that helps them get away from paperwork and to provide the credentials that are ultimately needed for import.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I guess like this, you're asking for sensors and SKUs, and there's a lot of extra work for a farmer to do. So who's?
Oh, actually, we're not asking them to do sensors. What we're asking them to do is to create the data log that would say what they've grown and that they intend to sell it. That is and then any inspections that have happened by FDA or USDA. That's all we're asking. We're not asking them to put in sensors. We don't need sensors to tell them what's happening on their farm. We do that with our AI tools.
But if people have last comments for Thomas, I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
Yeah, Tom's thing, I think it echoes the other point. I think the best way to understand this is through the lens of the use case. So I would just have a slide that spells out the guac chain from data sourcing to ultimate outcome, and just have it kind of be represented that way.
Yep, that's helpful. Thank you.
So that was a great pitch, and I just love the guac chain. I mean, that's my favorite.
I enjoy saying it. It's so
being a
what
Californian
is to track avocados and blueberries because they're highly perishable, high yield crops, and if they can reduce from 30 to 10%
if I could choose between a gold mine and an avocado field, I think it would be avocado all the way for me. Awesome, terrific. Thomas. I'm going to bring Jean on now. Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you.
Cheers. All right, I am bringing you on stage now, Jean. There we go. Let's test the audio real quick.
Yes, testing the audio.
Perfect. I can hear you. Go ahead and share your screen, and that's a great background design. I love it.
Sharing the screen. Now on screen, okay.
Good. It isn't full screen yet.
I have to put full screen here.
It'll be the along the bottom.
Right.
I believe it's the thing that looks like a little present. It's really close to the minus button along the bottom.
Yeah. I saw it, but I am now on your screen, so I have to go to my screen and go here.
There you go. That's the one. Perfect. You ready to go?
Yeah, ready. Thank you so much. Right. And this is my first speech ever, so thank you for welcoming me. So I am a ex-executive in L'Oréal. During 20 years, I was a top executive in L'Oréal. My last job was in Venezuela as the CEO of the company. So during all these 20 years of consumerism, of marketing, being a general manager in several countries, in Dubai, in Romania, in France, in the US. So I start to make this slide in my presentations. I animate presentations for the beginners of the company, youngs from universities. So the idea was to show to them, okay, this is my story, this is my project, I am here, I am building my storytelling, but I am also building my projects and my potential. So it was a very strong slide in my presentations. And in 2014, I start to think to create something and to dedicate my life to this, to dedicate my life to put on digital something different than Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, putting on digital my life as an asset, not only my stories, but also my projects. So I start to some draft with this idea of timeline, of showing my stories, of showing my projects. And I start to think about a marketplace. It means stories and experiences, could be books, movies, etc. Could be the offer. And my project, I am waiting for some help to reach my goals. So in 2016, I create, with my co-founder James and Johanna, we create a social network. I know it's a very, very difficult market, but we create something in the Latin American countries based, we start with Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, etc. We create a community. We have now a real community with a wallet. So we give the possibility to make transactions in dollars to simple people, normal people. We introduce the potential factor so we can create a real profile, and we are incorporating this year a token inside the community. So we are fully available on the web, of course on App Store, Play Store. Is free, is for everyone. So we start to see in 2020, where I dedicate 100% of my time to this project, to this startup that now is maybe a future scale up. We really felt an increasement of interaction, of transactions, of users. Now we're reaching 50,000 users. We have close to 4,000 users, active users. The churn rate, in fact, the retention after 90 days is close to 40%, so it's very interesting. And we are close to $10,000 a month. We are close to $12,000 a month in transactions between users. It's peer-to-peer, is fully decentralized. This is my team. This is my co-founders. And we have a CTO, we have administration, we have CXO. And I invite you to join us and to try the platform. It's very Latin Americana, but we want to expand, of course. But the idea is to create something to give the possibility to connect social with transactions. We have an internal wallet. You can propose your entrepreneurship, your companies, your projects. Is social and wallet. Thank you so much.
Timed work.
So I stop my screen sharing, maybe. Thank you very much for your patience. Okay, up.
Happy to start. Great job, especially for your first pitch. Curious, how do you think about, like, what is the core pain point that you think your users are experiencing with other social media platforms, or I guess just the pain point in general? Like, how do you kind of I guess, how does your customer identify with URIJI in a way that makes them want to adopt the product?
So to me, is a real personal problem. So I am on LinkedIn. I am like the El Chico, the guy of the year. So I have all the perfect LinkedIn profile, perfect job, perfect resume, etc. And it's impossible to look some way in the screen on LinkedIn or other platforms to create connections, but also to monetize, also to create, okay, I have experience in marketing, I launched L'Oreal in Pakistan, I have experiences as a general manager on P&L, etc. And it's impossible to monetize my experience. Of course, you can put in Patreon, you can put on Gumroad, you can have that kind of layout, but it's not social. It's not a relationship between us. We cannot make friends on Patreon. On URIJI, you can be a micro solidarity. You can post any kind of content, PDF files, video, music, audio files in the same post. So you can modify this post. It could become your company, could become your way to monetize your experience and to help others. So it is very instantaneously. It is el instante.
What are the main ways that people are monetizing currently on the platform?
So they propose products, coffee shops. We have 100 coffee shops inside, but with the storytelling, because you have the timeline stuff. You have a coach, doctors. They can monetize the consultation because it's dollarized between London. We create a big business PayPal in London for these wallets, but we are not married with PayPal. But you have a lot of entrepreneurs. 70% are women, so we are creating some bridges with UN Women to push the women entrepreneurs in the region.
So are you monetizing, like, are people paying on the platform for these services or paying for things right away, or is it more of like getting people in the door?
Is zero commission, is wallet to wallet. You can load your wallet using a PayPal account, and withdraw. You can withdraw your money. If you withdraw, we take 10% to pay taxes and to pay to create some business. No, we have no ad now. Is an open book approach. Is the beginning. We are plug and play because we have users, so we can. But I am at a very early stage. You know, it's my first speech ever. Sorry for being like this.
John, how are you acquiring users right now?
Where they are, or
sorry,
like?
Yeah, sorry. How are you acquiring users on both sides?
Word of mouth. We have a lot of eventos. In Bolivia, we realized an event with 500 entrepreneurs connected with women entrepreneurs. We create communities, tribes, but it's fully organic. We have no money to invest on advertising, on YouTube, etc. We raised 1 million on family friends during these years, but we are not investing in advertising because you have to moderate a lot the content to put out trolls, spammers, and garbage users to create this atmosphere, good atmosphere.
Jean, I just have a quick question for you. I wanted to know, can you detail a little bit more on the user, what is your retention rate, and if you have some more metrics that you can share for your users at the moment?
So retention rate, 90 days, we calculate 40% of retention rate. We have 5,000 active users monthly, which represent close to 2,000 transactions a month. The average transaction is $9 per month per user. That's it for now. Yeah.
We have run out of time, guys. But if you have any last comments for Gene, feel free to put them in the chat. And congrats on your first pitch ever. Cheers. I'm going to bring you on, Paul and Baron. And Baron, after you come on, if you're wanting to mute yourself, you can just mute and turn off your video and audio right along the bottom. Yeah, you did it perfectly. You are on camera, just so you know, though. And the way you share your screen is pressing the little screen button along the bottom.
Just testing my audio, by the way. Can you guys
hear you.
hear me properly?
Yep, can hear you perfectly.
Awesome. I hope everyone's ready to listen to a pitch that is not hardware or software, but it's going to be
It's all good.
unconventional.
Let's make sure Baron gets on there first. Okay, we're on.
Awesome.
Beautiful. You ready to roll, guys?
Yeah, let's do it.
But Baron, do you want to be on camera? I know you're on camera, right?
Yeah, I think she's
good. Okay, beautiful. I'll let you guys. Oh, she's still okay. All good. Do your thing.
Awesome. So, water scarcity is a problem that the entire world is facing. Now, what if we can finally close the gap of water infrastructure in rural areas? We are Deploy Tech, providing easier access to water storage. Deploy Tech is an Imperial College London spin-out, conceived and developed with over 50 years of experience in the water infrastructure industry. In water management, water storage is an essential component of any water system. It allows us to distribute, clean, and manage the resource consumption. Contrary to what you might imagine, water shortages are already a very real problem in the UK, where the East states suffer problematic droughts every year. If this is happening in the UK, you can only imagine the challenges for the rest of the world. We are helping by providing affordable and sustainable water storage. Deploy is the first ever foldable container. It can be folded in a 40:1 ratio. It's air deployed. Once on site, an inflation system injects air inside the tank to adjust its final shape. And ready-to-use concrete water tank. After hydrating, it's hardened in just 24 hours. Our technology on foldable and inflatable infrastructure, plus the no need for concrete base, makes it the first of its kind in the water tank ecosystem. We applied for a patent in July 2020. In addition to the storage of water, our patent includes any other liquids and bulk material storage. Our beachhead market is agriculture in the UK, with an estimated market share of 109 million. This represents 10% of the demand from the 219,000 farms spread around the country. But our potential to scale is massive, starting from drinking water systems, a worldwide need. This market represents 1.1 billion. But also, there is a fast-growing market, fire mitigation. In the US alone, 40 million people live in high-risk fire areas. The demand to protect their homes and to comply with forest fire legislation makes it our biggest market. We will sell through a B2B model with tank distributors. Each tank has a base cost of £5,000. We built a strong partnership with our material supplier. We secured 2 years of factory space, equipment, and IP independence, and supply exclusivity for 6 years. We will leverage Concrete Canvas' well-established distribution pipelines in 80 different countries with over 180 distributors. The latest achievements is a full-scale prototype being tested under real environment conditions. We are conducting tests and trials to our MVP at the moment and to launch the product by January 2022. We're aiming to raise £500,000, which will allow us to hit the milestones for the next 15 months. To put it in perspective, we need to sell 66 tanks to break even every year. And by selling close to 100 units, we can generate revenues of almost £700,000. Our projections are based on the 7,000 tanks sold by e-commerce platforms here in the UK and international distribution agreements that we have secured. As we reinforce our tanks, we also reinforce our team with experts in concrete infrastructures, business strategy, and experienced leaders on fire mitigation and rural water systems.
Hey, your time is up. Just as a warning, I would wrap it up as soon as you
Disrupting the
can.
industry of water storage. That's it. Thank you, Andrew. Just in time.
Sorry, if I knew you only had one sentence to say, I wouldn't have said that. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Andrew's brutal.
Hey, Paul. Oh,
Hello,
sorry,
guys. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for sharing. It looks like you're tackling a difficult problem that's important for the world. So kudos to you. I guess I'd like to better understand, why is UK the focus? I feel like, there might be potential to partner with the charity and maybe go to, places where droughts are more prevalent and the need for water storage is greater, as a way to maybe get, quicker traction.
Yeah, so that's a good question, but the problem is manufacturing. The material that we're using is very innovative and it's pretty new in the market. So it's developed by a UK company in South Wales, which is called Concrete Canvas, which manufactures this concrete fabric material, which is very light and very thin. So just to put it in perspective, we're replacing conventional concrete, which has 150 millimeter wall thickness, with just 6 millimeters. So this material, it's very difficult to get, and they have the patent that hasn't released them until the next 3 years. So they still have kind of the only ones that manufacture. So that's why we moved the manufacturing line to South Wales, where we're manufacturing the tanks.
You can't manufacture it anywhere else right now? That's
no,
just
right
South
now,
of Wales?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, so just to understand, Paul, you own the design patent of putting this thing together, of deploy, but you don't actually own the material, like the IP related to that, right? Is that correct?
Yes. Yes,
so
correct.
Can you clarify, what's the 6 years of distribution? What is that?
Yeah. So just to clarify on the IP, just quickly, it's just imagine that we're purchasing, we're making a garment and we're purchasing the material or the textile. So that's what they're providing, and we're manufacturing a product per se. And then for the second side of that was the, sorry, can you get back to the question, the second side, the second part?
Yeah. I think no worries, and we can keep going. I want to open up for more questions. I think this is super interesting. I guess on the back of Alex's, my comment would be, just because you're manufacturing in London, UK, I guess that where you're manufacturing doesn't necessarily drive the business, right? The business should be driven by the business and what the need is. So I guess like if farmers are asking for this, great. But otherwise there's a decision to be made there. But in droughts, there's no decision. This is like, you're the only option. Come here, it's an easy sell. So I guess that's a comment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And something kind of counterintuitive, here in the UK, they suffer both things. So they suffer droughts but also floods all the time. So it's a perfect kind of beachhead market that we have. But that is actually the great thing about our technology and why we can kind of break the industry a little bit, because we're able to be cost efficient, even if we ship our product in other territories, because our tank can be folded and packaged in a pallet. So we can have a 40,000 liter tank sent to Africa in just a pallet. And this makes it very cost efficient and even being competitive and even being cheaper than the solutions that they have already over there. So that's what is making us very competitive. Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Or advice. It's always okay to give advice as well, guys.
So I don't know. I don't want to jump in more, but I think this is super intriguing. I haven't seen that kind of like the concrete structure. I think is super neat. I'd love to see, I guess, like maybe you guys in a little bit of time just to find out how your traction, how you guys are going out there, because it sounds like, I mean, you sound pretty mission critical to a lot of industries, but may not know you. But it sounds like you're almost giving it too cheap. I heard 5,000 pounds, which is 10 grand. Like that seems almost so little for kind of infrastructure. So would like to understand how this evolves. And obviously you're early stage, so you'll figure it out. But
yeah, I think that's a super interesting question. The way is like, when we were pricing the infrastructure, we were trying to measure ourselves with and trying to compete with factory-made products, which is like plastic tanks or galvanized steel tanks or something like that, and they are in that price range. And the only thing that obviously we are providing more lifespan. So, for example, a plastic tank can last you from 5 to 10 years, but our material and our product, it has a guarantee of 25 years. But at this stage, we're trying to evaluate this price level, because I definitely believe that we can go higher. It's just we are afraid that we might come too high right now. Yeah. And just an observation, in the US, a galvanized steel tank for fire mitigation, the same size, would cost around 40K, something like that.
Our time is up. I can't tell if my video is working or not. I think I just had video problems. I'm glad I'm not pitching. I don't know what's going on. Is it working?
I see you now.
Oh, you can. Okay, I'm just seeing my frozen face on the screen. Okay, Paul, great job. My only question, and it doesn't have to be a long response. I'm just wondering: is Paul going after the right type of funding? Should he be going after? Is this a VC conversation, or is this more a PE conversation that he should be having? What do you guys feel about that? Do you have any quick response to something like that? Because I want to try to help him and make sure he's talking to the right folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think even a step before all of that, like targeting as much grant and NGO money as you possibly go after is the approach that I would take early days.
Gonna say.
Yeah, I think you should consider the work that the Gates Foundation did and target maybe similar investors, and take the advice that Reza gave you seriously. Yeah, but it's a very intriguing product. I would have more questions, but I feel we'll go over time. But actually, I want to ask you: can it be delivered by drone?
Yeah, no, it might be a little bit too heavy, but it can be. We have done it with helicopter, so it can be delivered by helicopter.
Paul, I have to disagree with you on that because my dad is doing the flying cars right now in New Zealand.
Oh wow!
And that's for people. So and that's just a really big drone. So if they can do that, if they can do a 2-passenger, people drone, they can definitely deliver yours on a drone. I'm telling you right now, definitely can.
Definitely. Awesome. That's great. That's great. Just I'm evaluating people probably is like 130 kilograms, and this is like 500. So maybe yeah. But yeah, if there is a scale like that, that's a great. So we can promote that later. That's awesome.
One thing I think is important to address too is I would make sure you're not limited by your supply. I think that's gonna be really, really critical for you. Make it worth the suppliers. Make it worth their while to either make a deal to license the fabric out, because I think that will be the quickest way for this to fall flat.
Yeah, we're designing the manufacturing line very simple and straightforward that can be replicated anywhere, because actually the process is not that difficult. It's just about the IP that it took us 2 years to develop, to manufacture. Once we got there, it's gonna be pretty simple to replicate.
Yeah, I guess Andrew, just quickly, when you're asking for comments and for PE, sorry, I think the problem is right now where the company's stage is at, Smart Canvas, the manufacturing company, is more PE backable and viable than you guys are at Deploy right now, because they own the IP, they manufacture it, and they'll have you and other people as offtake supply. So they're the manufacturing, they're more PE. 100% what Alex and Ryan already echoed about NGO grant funding. Now, water preservation and accessibility is one of the global SDGs. So you're riding a huge chain right now. There's a lot more grant funding out there for you. Would definitely go through that. And I would try to pre-sell this to NGOs as well to kind of get that revenue. You can't do it necessarily because NGOs might not be there. But I think pre-selling combined with equity funding, it could be interesting.
Yeah,
well, guys,
we're following
we are
really
out
hard
of time.
side. Yeah.
Awesome, Paul. Yeah, we're out of time, guys. I'm gonna see folks in networking, and we'll hang out a little bit. I want to thank the judges. Thank you, Alex and Reza. If I lost you both already, but thank you. No, it's fine. Yeah, I know people have lives, so it's all good, guys. Thank you. Also to Marina and Ryan. Just for everyone for just taking your time out of your day to give some great advice, some great feedback. Believe it or not, it does really affect people. It's so nice because now we've been doing this for just under a year, and we're seeing like people come to us saying, this feedback that we got brought us to the point where now we raised 2 million, we raised $1 million. We had no idea how to talk to VCs before. We had no idea, what it was like and how to have these conversations. So it really does help folks. So thank you for giving that time out of your day, and hope to see you all at a future event. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate it.
Guys.